Greetings all home studio builders across this fine nation of ours. What I'm going to do here today is I'm going to run through phase 1 of this home studio project, and phase 1 is a control room, which is down in the basement here. This is where we're going to be doing a lot of the mixing of the music that's going to be recorded in the future, as well as some direct recording. But the construction of this room is going to be such that it's not going to enable any sound, no matter how loud, I hope, to transmit upstairs. And there's a certain way we have to go about putting this room together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you step by step and the procedure that I've used to build this control room, and hopefully it makes sense to you if you're building your own, and it can be as a tool for myself also for later if I'm going to do it again, or to show someone else how to do their room. So that's it for now, and we'll begin with the procedure from square one to where I have it now. So that's it for now. Okay, I had to cut a hole in the wall here and get into a hollow space, which is I'm going to eventually insulate all this, use it as a storage space. But I just wanted to show you what we started with here, and that's an 8-inch foundation, poured foundation, and what was existing before I started was one layer 1/2-inch drywall, and it was fastened to a 2x2 that the original owner of the house had fastened to the foundation. So we'll swing around this way, and this is how I started building up the walls. The thing about building a studio wall is density and mass, and that's to eliminate any sound transmission that can carry its way outside of this control room and upstairs and disturb the rest of the household members. So when you're doing your construction, you got to keep that in mind. And what I've done is taking a 2x2 and put it on top of the existing drywall, and I filled in that space with a 1/2-inch of rock sool sound and fire insulation, which does quite a good job. It's a specialty type of insulation that you'll want to use in any studio applications. And on top of the studs, we put what we call a resilient channeling, RC channel. You can pick this up at any hardware store like Home Depot or one of the bigger major brand outlets. And what we do is fasten that on, and we put this sill gasket to eliminate any vibration. And what this does is you put your first layer, this is medium high density board, and it's for pretty heavy stuff. And when we apply our material onto this RC channeling on, I think 24-inch centers is what I have here, it takes the wall and breaks it away. So essentially you're not having most of the wall is not touching any of the studs, and eliminates sound transmission going through the rest of the structure. So the first layer on top of the RC channeling is a 1/2-inch drywall fastened with fine threaded drywall screws. I should mention that when you're putting this material on, you'll have to countersink individually every screw hole, because this stuff, it won't allow the screw to countersink naturally or by itself. It'll end up stripping all your screws. And the second layer of material on top of this was a 1/2-inch drywall, and every time we put a piece of material on the walls, you start with one wall, you put it in, and the next wall comes in and butts up against, and this here would be the second layer on this wall, so it would come and butt up against the first layer of the high density board. And I leave about 1/8 of an inch gap in here, because we want to decouple the walls and from the floor and the ceiling, and This eliminates any sound transmission going to the walls also. And I fill that in with acoustical caulking compound. I'll give you a look at that in a minute, but essentially what it does, it never hardens, it keeps flexible, and allows for some movement when the walls vibrate. Now these walls are, you can consider them floating walls, because if you push on them, the RC channeling is probably about 1/8 of an inch off or so, and it floats a little bit, so it works quite well. Okay, here's an example of the acoustical compound that we use, caulking, and just layer that in there, make sure it's all sealed properly, and every layer you put on, every time you put two walls together, you'll put a bead of this in the corner, and you'll get a nice tight seal in your corners, again to eliminate any leaking of sound coming in or going out. Okay, this particular shot here gives you a good idea of how thick these walls really are. Again, here's your 8-inch poured foundation, starting here, ending about here, and then you have a 2x2. This is the existing drywall, then another 2x2, then your insulation, then your medium density board, and then 5/8 drywall on top of that. Now that's going to be the scenario for 3 of the 4 walls in this control room, and with the exception of the one wall adjacent to the laundry room, which is on the main beam of the house, it's going to incorporate just another 1/2-inch layer of drywall on each side. This particular little shot here is under the staircase. I cut a hole here into the wall, and I'm going to have to insulate all this area up into the existing wall here, as well as on the cemented area, and I'll probably end up using this as some type of a storage area also once it's treated with the proper soundproofing materials, as well as I ran some wire through here for a light switch, which is going to be the red light outside of the studio. So when that red light's on, that means recording is being done, work of some type, and pretty much do not enter. So that's that little doohickey there. Okay, I just wanted to show here that when you're putting your materials on the walls, that to make sure that you leave an airspace here of about maximum about 1/4 of an inch. You want everything decoupled again, and you don't want these walls touching the joists to transmit sound from inside the room through the joists and upstairs. You'll do that to the top as well as the bottom on the floor. You want an airspace in here also, and what I usually do after that is I'll apply some of the acoustical caulking into this area here as well. When we're putting our sheets of drywall up, I leave an 1/8 of an inch gap between the drywall sheets, and I fill this in with the acoustical caulking also. Like I mentioned before, it doesn't it never hardens, it keeps flexible, so it allows any vibration to be dampened to a certain degree. If we go over to this side of the room, you'll see what I mean by filling in the gaps here. A nice thick seal, make sure there's no air gaps. Instead of I decided to do this instead of the putting drywall mud in there. I felt that this would do a better job in keeping you know, most of the walls decoupled and working to defeat the sound transmission. Okay, this is the wall that I had to improve on, adjacent to the laundry room here. As you can see, be a lot of noise going on in here, perhaps at the same time I'm doing work, so I don't want anything unnecessary noises coming in. So this gives you a good cross section of what's going on. Started out with the existing 2x4 stud wall, and I added a 2x2 on each side of that, and then was the sill gasket, and of course our RC channeling is in here. You can't see it right now. A layer of medium density board and a 5/8 layer of drywall. In addition, the last layer, well, I'll be putting another 1/2 inch drywall on this side as well as this side. So I swing around, and what's going on here is, in behind here, of course, now that I thicken the wall up, I've had an opportunity to put 2 layers of 3-inch Roxwool sound insulation. So essentially what's going on in here is I've got 6 inches of insulation with about a 1/2 inch airspace in between here. Again, the air spaces do help in dampening the sound, in addition to the other materials on the wall. So this is the unfinished wall and what it looks like. This will be the last side to be filled in. I'll have to drill some holes through the back side here and run these wires on the other side for some outlets. It'll be a lot easier when I put the last layer of drywall on the other side, just to come in here and drill through and feed the wire through on the other side. Then I'll come back in here and continue to finish off this wall, of course, in the same manner that I had on the other side. This shot here shows a little bit of treatment done on the water pipes. The main 1-inch copper pipe coming up through the ground. This is the water meter here, and then behind here is the water pipe runs up. And what I've done is I've just taken some water pipe insulation, and now this will prevent against any unnecessary noise from transmitting into the control room, as well as prevent against condensation. I find it gets humid in southern Ontario here, and hopefully this will eliminate any of the condensation that I was experiencing, and so it doesn't drip onto the finished ceiling and cause water stains later on. This pipe runs all the way through onto the other side, and of course splits off, so it's treated all the way through. As well as with the ductwork, to eliminate any noise, we've taken some of the heat insulation foil. This protects against any of the unnecessary noise coming in from the ductwork, and make sure we just do that all the way through the whole room. And this shot here just shows the cold air intake to the furnace, again treated to eliminate any sound transmission. And again, it's there's a space left between everything here, decoupling everything, as well as into this part of the room here. Okay, this is a 1/2 inch copper gas line running from the laundry room into the family room on the 3rd level of the home. And I took a little extra precaution here, and I just took some PVC piping and I just split it in half, and I covered that pipe just to give it a little extra added protection against any you know, you never know when you put the ceiling in, some screws might get away on you, and we wouldn't want a gas leak. So that's what that situation is all about. Okay, this just shows how I started treating the ceiling between the floor joists. This first layer of material here is called Pergo floor mat. It basically just stops any, you know, it helps to eliminate any of the vibration coming from upstairs and people are walking on the floor. And just swing around here from the laundry room to show you how we started to do the ceiling. This is the first layer of 3-inch rock wool sound insulation that we put in. So I got about a 7.5 inch floor joist here. So what I'm going to do, I ran some wiring and the inspector came in and checked it out. So I'm going to continue to put the second layer in, and I'm going to have a little bit of an airspace in here, perhaps about an inch and a half, and that'll again help in any sound transmission. And I'll show you some of the wiring that has been done. I had to do an upgrade on the panel here. It's a 100 amp service, and I had a 100 amp service fuse panel in there, and it was just way too many wires running on the circuits, and I couldn't really do any additional wire installations unless I changed the panel over. So it's a 64 mini circuit or a 32 regular size 15 amp circuits in there. So I had the electrician come in and install the new panel. Inspector had passed all the wiring that I had put in, and this just shows, I think there's about 8 or 10 new circuits that I'm running from this panel eventually into the studio. And everything's going to be put on a separate circuit for just, you know, you want everything is running on clean power, especially when you're using digital recording apparatus. You want to keep it as clean as possible. So this just shows the wires running in from the studio into the control panel area here. As well, I ran a coax cable onto the other side. I'll need a TV monitor in there for some of my applications, and there's a phone line running in for the computer and the internet as well. And this just shows the wiring that we installed here. Again, I have to enclose this in to code, put a piece of drywall over that. And just showing the wires branching off and going across into the other side of the room there. This is just another quick view on the wiring here. Of course, halfway up on the floor joist, about 3.5 inches. Keep it in the center, and I've worked it to come behind the stud, or the 2x2 that I applied to the existing drywall. These wires are stapled up on the side and right up against the back of the wall on the existing drywall. I run the wires down on one side of the stud, or 2x2 comes down, and I made a mark on the floor here. This is the last layer, so what I'll have to do is measure 18 inches straight up and drill a hole here, and that's where the wire is going to be. Now it's important to consider doing this method due to the fact that you're going to have less of an opening in your wall, which is going to prevent sound from coming in and out. So I'll drill a hole here, and I'll pull the wire through, and I'll have exterior receptacle boxes mounted onto the wall, and I'll fill the hole in with some of the spray foam and seal it up tight again, so there won't be any unnecessary openings in the walls at all. And I'll do that again for, I think there's about 10 receptacles that I'm going to be putting in the room. On this particular wall there's 3, one here, as well as the coax cable and the phone line. This is 4-pair phone line. If you're going to install a new phone line, you might as well put in the 4-pair, just in case somewhere down the line you'll be able to keep up with technology. In case there's something else, we'll be able to get over the phone lines in the future. And then the third one's over here. There's 2 on this wall. I put here just to put some power for some outboard equipment on. And this will give you a view of essentially how the room went through in its stages. Of course, to the right at the doorway you have your RC channeling, insulation, sill gasket, 1/2-inch medium density board, and on top of that you'll have your 5/8 drywall. You can see how it all comes together. So this is the stage I'm at now, and the next step is to finish all the walls off, pull the wires through, put the receptacle boxes on the outside, wire it into the panel, have it its final inspection by the electrical inspector, and after that we'll start on the ceiling. Finish putting in the insulation and putting the RC channeling onto the floor joists, and following the same procedures on the wall. It will be 1/2-inch medium density board on the ceiling, followed by 1 layer of 5/8 drywall. And hopefully when we're done, that'll be the trick. And we'll worry about, after that we'll put in some carpeting and start on the doorways. Lots of doors, probably a double door system. It's going to apply in most cases here. And after that, I guess we'll do some tests on the room for sound, see what our problem areas are, and look into some acoustical foams. And we should be ready to do some serious recording down here. So until further progress, I'll sign off, and we'll certainly come back and talk to you later. Greetings again. I'm back with my assistant Jason, who's been ever so helpful in certain stages of this product, finishing this studio. I guess it's been a couple weeks since we talked to you last, and we're just gonna, I guess for starters, go over some of the products that we used to help construct this room. So we'll take a look down here on the table, and this is our sill gasket that we used to put in up before the RC channeling on the studs. We talked about that to control any vibration of the RC channeling, and this is exactly what this is here. Take a closer look at it. You mount it up this way up on the wall, across the studs. Cross section here, you can see how it's about a 1/2-inch clearance off of the wall. What you do is you screw it in here, and just be careful not to screw too tight so you don't dimple this. It should be fairly just snug up against the stud when you put your screws in. So this is the only part that gets fastened, and then of course the weight of your drywall and other materials will sort of have this break and a cross section will kind of just break off the wall a little bit, and you'll have yourself a pseudo floating room, I suppose is how you can categorize that as. This is the acoustical caulking we've used. Brand name is Bulldog Grip. Do yourself a favor, if you're going to work with this stuff, buy the big tube and the big gun. You'll save a lot of money by going with the larger tubes. This here is that spray foam called Great Stuff. It's, you can see, minimal expanding, which is pretty important. You don't want this stuff coming out any of the holes that you're trying to fill up. It's really just a waste. And just a couple things about the screws here. We've just used to fasten the studs. A coarse, you're better off going with a coarse threaded screw if you're going into the wood. You get a much better hold. And a couple different types of drywall screws that we've used. We use the fine threaded screws to fasten our first layer of drywall, or our first layer of medium density board into the RC channeling. So the reason you use the fine threaded screws is that you'll find you won't strip. It'll get a better hold on the metal rather than a coarse screw. And of course, putting our layers of drywall and medium density board up, or I mean the drywall up into the medium density board, we use our coarse screw for a better hold. Another thing you might want to purchase if you're doing a project is what I just dropped here. Drywall dimpler. It saves a lot of time. You can rest assured, of course, you won't be going too deep and countersinking your screws into the drywall. Anybody who's ever used this before knows how great it is, and if you haven't used it, do yourself a favor and get one. It's a great little tool to have. Now, I guess the next place we'll look here is what I've done. I pulled the wires through the wall. From the first part of the video, you probably we went through how we just put the wires in and laid it up against the rock stool insulation. We made a mark on the floor, and when we were doing our wiring, and we just drilled holes and pulled our wires through, and after that we just filled the holes in with some of the spray foam. Just something to mention here, if you're measuring, say like we did here, 18 inches off the ground, off the floor, when you're drilling, go an inch lower. It's a lot easier to pull your wires through. What we did is just took a hanger and made a little hook on it, grab the wire, and you got to give it a real quick pull, and this wire is flexible enough to be able to pull a loop out and then work it out with your fingers. This is just the brand name of insulation that we used. As you can see, Rock's safe and sound. This is very good stuff. Does a trick. It's got the metal slag in it. It actually gives it a little bit more weight, a little more density. It does a job quite a bit better than your usual pink insulation. Let's take a look at one of the bats here. What she looks like. And for cutting, you use a bread knife, serrated bread knife, and this stuff cuts really nice. It doesn't leave a big mess, and hopefully does the job. Here's a view of the second layer of insulation that we've put into the ceiling, and as you can see, it's come down to the bottom of the floor joist here. It's an area up in here where we're going to have to fill in. Just cut some pieces where the bracing is between the floor joists. Take a walk over here. Get a little bit of a cross section to what it looks like. You can see that we've got about an inch, inch and a half of space in between the bats here. Now this is going to act as a little bit of a sound trap. So when you get some, especially for bass frequencies, low frequencies, they seem to be the problem, and they penetrate pretty much through everything. So hopefully the idea is, so the ceiling part here will capture some of the sound into this bat, and when they get in here, they'll kind of, this airspace act as a little bit of a buffer zone where they can be trapped and they'll absorb by the bats of insulation. Here's our finished laundry, or main beam wall I should say, separating the laundry room from the control room. I guess our finished thickness here is about 10 3/4 inches, so it's quite a thick wall, but density is the name of the game here. And again, the cross view, you got your 1/2 inch drywall, 5/8 drywall, 1/2 inch medium density board. Your RC channeling is in here, so that's attached again to your 2 inch or 2x2 stud here, and then of course the main wall and the same configuration on this side. Now see if we can get an example of how these walls work. All that material on there, of course the RC channeling is broken away off of the studs, so if you press on this, the whole wall just floats. That was a pretty good job. It turned out actually pretty good. I was pretty happy with it. And again, the finished laundry room on this side. So we're all done with the construction materials. The walls, all we have to do now, our next phase, walking into here, is to do the ceiling in the same manner as the walls were done. And on the ceiling, what we're going to have is going to have your RC channeling, a layer of medium density board, and just the 5/8, and I'm hoping that'll keep the sound from working its way up through the ceiling upstairs. If not, my other option is to take some acoustical ceiling tile, and I'll probably adhere that right to the 5/8. Another while I'm here to show you, another thing to keep in mind when you're doing this is to mark off where you're putting your screws on each layer of material, so you don't want to be hitting your previous layer screws. So of course you just mark it here, so that'd be the first layer going from the medium density board into the RC channeling. So that's marked off, and then here's the next set of screws going 5/8 drywall into the medium density board, and then the last layer of the screws here, so they're all staggered. And I believe that's all we can show you for now. We're going to start putting up, like I say, the resilient channel on the ceiling, and going about putting our layers of material on the ceiling. So we should have that done in probably 5 days or a week anyways. Just decided to show you the seams that have been filled with the acoustical caulking again. So this is the last layer, and everything's sealed properly. All intersecting points. And of course, on top of this, we're going to put our final layer of material, some type of a wood, perhaps mahogany or something like that on top. So until further progress, again, we'll sign off. My assistant, Jason, again. And we'll talk to you later. Welcome to another session of studio building. It's been a while since we chatted, but hey, here we go. Since last episode, I guess what I've done is put up the RC channeling here for the ceiling, and I'm going to apply the material in the same way that I applied it to the walls. And this little fancy device here, thanks to Warren Lange, who informed me that such an animal did exist. The old panel lifter, back saver, time saver, etc., etc. And pretty simple device. Just come in and you just throw your piece of board on the platform there vertically, and then when you're ready to lift her up, you just tilt her back. I can do this without it falling on me, like so. Comes down, bada boom, bada bing, and you just crank it up with this wheel right here. Take the brake off and crank this baby. Just lift her right up to the ceiling, pin it securely the right pressure, and then commence to screwing your panel in to the track. And that's about as simple as it gets. So we'll get at her a bit here, and when I get some material up on the ceiling, I'll tune back in with you, let you know how it's going. And bye for now. Okay, just a little update here on the ceiling application. You just put a few sheets up here, so that's what it's going to look like, and that's going to hold another layer of 5/8 drywall. And so far it's working out pretty good. Just getting into some tough stuff now. Gonna have to work around some light fixtures and get the measurements right on. And the only other concern is I've been putting the screws for the ceiling panel about 16-inch centers, and I might change that to put it one screw every 12 inches. It's only gonna add another 4 screws per panel, but it might make the difference in the end, because of course that 5/8 drywall is pretty heavy. So that's it for now, and check with you later. And back again here, just a little update. I've got all the hardboard on, the RC channeling, and the drywall is going up pretty quick after that, as it just screws right into the, of course, right into the hardboard. Cut out one vent, not too much to cut out on the ceiling. One light fixture box, and it's got a couple of places to patch in here, just due to water pipes. Probably just put a small strip of hardboard in here and stuff it with some insulation, and the next layer covers over nicely, just makes it underneath the water pipe. And here's the wall board jack as it looks as it's in use there. So that's what we got so far, and I'll just finish off the drywall and patch in a couple spots, and then we'll be off to the next stage, which will be finishing off the walls here with some material I haven't decided what to pick out yet. So that's about all I can tell you for now. And on that note, see you later. Okay, here we are. We're finished the ceiling. Took about 2 days working at her to get her done. Turned out pretty good. Everything leveled off nicely with the RC channeling. Dropped down from the joist. And I just made sure that we sealed everything at the joint here. There was about a 1/16 to an 1/8 of an inch gap between the ceiling layer and the wall, and we just filled it in with the acoustical caulking. Still a little bit wet there, as you can see. So next stage, probably start that in a few days or so, and until then, happy building. I'll talk to you later. Goodbye.
The room is almost finished.
My assistant Jason there. He's been working pretty hard there. He's getting pretty anxious for this whole thing to be done. But we're almost there. So let's pick up where we left off. And we finished off the ceiling with a layer of 5/8 ceiling tile, and it turned out pretty good. I couldn't drop it as I didn't want to lose any more ceiling height, so just glued it right on there. Just a little bit of assurance, stop the sound, and we're going to cover up all the joints here with a nice thin molding, and it'll give it kind of a pattern look when it's all done. As well, we've also finished off our electrical here on the walls. So we got quite a few outlets, plenty to spare. You never know when you're going to need extra power. Most of these, or actually all of them, are on their own circuit. So if one goes down, it won't interfere with any of the other electronics we have going on. And today, we got the carpet put in. And this is what it looks like. Takes a little bit getting used to at first. The pattern is a little wilder than we thought when we looked at it in the store. But nevertheless, it seems to be blending in there quite nicely with the rest of the room. And I'll give you a little pan here. Show you what we got. The grain matched up fairly well on the paneling. Of course, it's kind of hard to get a bundle that's all shipped off at once so you can get the patterns to match. A little bit of a different tone in the wood, but I think over time that'll probably age and it'll all blend in with the same color. Just going to throw a layer of, or not a layer, just some Swedish oil just to finish it off, give it a nice luster. The next step we're going to be doing is putting in the doors. Going to be a double door system here, and a couple doors there, one in the bottom of the stairs, one at the top, and also we have to finish off these little compartments here. I think what we're going to end up doing is making what they call a Helmholtz resonator out of out of this compartment here, and what it does is basically traps and controls bass frequencies, you know, down in the area of 100 hertz, 50, down to 20, depending on how it's constructed. But all really you have to do is insulate. We'll insulate this with, finished it off with some of that rock wool, and then what you do is you just put some pegboard covering it up, allow the sound waves to enter there, and then they're usually controlled. And it doesn't really matter where you put one of these in a room, because the bass frequencies are non-directional and it'll be absorbed. Of course, we're also going to put in some studio foams once we get the room finished off. And we're going to do the molding next, and then the doors. And finish off this countertop with some leftover paneling that I do have. So that's going to all blend in nicely. And of course we got our ducts here. Just going to get probably a nice oak register to put over that. And then one little opening here I have to finish off. And that's just where the shut-off valve is for outside faucet. And you want to be able to get to that, access that pretty quick. A little bit of a cross section of what's going on, how the ceiling is constructed here. You got your 3 layers. So that's a good solid mass there to control some sound going upstairs. And again, we're going to get a nice light fixture up on the top, give it a nice, some nice mood lighting. Here's a shot of, a little bit better shot of how the ceiling is put together. You can see, of course, the insulation, and again there's 2 layers of that. So there's 6 inches in the joists, or between the joists, and then here we have resilient channeling, and then first layer, medium density board, 5/8 drywall, and 5/8 ceiling tile. So again, there's the mass that you need to control the sound, and it's holding up. It hasn't fallen down yet, so I guess she's gonna stay. I mean, we're hoping. And we'll move into here. This is another, get this out of the way first. My assistant Jason helps me out. This is sort of another area where it's going to help absorb some of the bass frequencies. And I'm going to put a little bit more insulation here when I'm done. Also, all the wires are going to run through here, all the cables into the live room, which is going to be the next project. And we're just going to have a hole, remove all this, cut out a panel, and run all my audio cables through here. Out, put a hole in the bottom there, and then out around the family room, and out into a junction box out in the sunroom where the live performances will take place. And again, we need to get onto this a little bit later on. Build a door here. Also use that as some storage, perhaps maybe even move the amplifiers in here later if they are not just the amps for the monitors and stuff like that, power amps, in case they're causing a bit too much noise down here. Or this could be another option. Right now it's just used for skates and helmets and knickknacks. Same idea. Got a switch here that'll control the red light for over the stairway to indicate when recording is taking place, and so nothing is interrupted on unnecessarily. I think that's about all we got to show you for now. What do you think, Jace?
Yeah, that's about it.
That's about it. Alrighty. So until further progress, once again, we'll say goodbye.
Bye-bye.
And next time we show you, we hopefully pretty much have the whole room finished off. Hi folks, we're back here. Just a little bit of an update on since the last time we chatted about this room. I think last time we had the paneling up and we're just getting into the molding, so everything's done here except for a couple small doors for storage areas. And we'll just take you around and let's just see what we've done. I guess the first thing is we finished off the countertop here and matched it up with the rest of the decor of the room. Just pretty much covered what was already there with the same building materials. And we put our part close strapping between on the seams of the paneling here, which actually turned out pretty good. A little tough to match to get the same color throughout, but not too bad all in all. And ceiling, we using the same part close strapping, we made a grid. Since the ceiling tile again is glued to the last drywall layer, we just pretty much ran it as it would be with the metal grid you normally use with this type of ceiling. That's pretty much what it looks like on the lengthwise end of things. And again this way. And just finished off a little access door here for the shut-off valve for the outside faucet. Hoping that don't leak at all. We'll just scan around here, get an idea what the whole room looks like. Moldings and everything on the doors. And we got a light fixture going on here. Something a little funky, set the mood in the studio for those late nights. And there will be late nights, we all know that. And we finished off our air conditioning heating duct here. I think though, when not in use, we're going to have to make it so we either have a cover with a little bit of insulation or just have it accessible. We can take it off quickly and put either some acoustical foam in there or some of that rock stool insulation just to quiet things up a bit. When the furnace is on or the air conditioning is on, you can hear a little bit of noise out coming in through that vent. So we can control that easy enough if we have to. And we'll take a look at our door systems here. Basically, I got these doors at a really good deal. They're about anywhere between $500 and $600 doors. And I found this place, and I'm sure there's one in every town if you're looking for building materials. It's a demolition business, and this particular individual who runs this business goes in and just demolishes these old office buildings and comes away with lots of goodies real cheap. These doors here were taken, they're pretty much hospital doors. Like I say, they're about $500-600 doors anyways. And then the hardware was included on here, the door handles. 1 3/4 solid, like I mean solid. These doors weigh about 130 pounds each. So there's some substantial mass there to keep that sound from coming through the laundry furnace room over here. And like I say, they came with the hardware, and I mean, these double door lock systems here, these have to be worth $80 anyways, brand new. I mean, this is all top-notch stuff here. As well as the hinges. Now these hinges here are ball bearing hinges, and you're going to need something this heavy duty to hold these doors with this weight. These are, you know, standard 4-inch hinges here, ball bearing, stainless steel. Got these, you know, for a song and a dance too at the same place where I bought the doors. And we got like number 12 screws holding these babies in here. Let me open this up here. Better look at what's going on. So we got a double door system, and I bought these at the Home Depot. They're commercial door jambs, neoprene, so they won't wear out and they won't buckle after, you know, a certain amount of time like your normal foam will. And these again are adjustable as well. You got a little bit of a play in here if you have to tighten them up over time. So there's our finished door frame. I think last time was just the stud still showing there. And again, we got our door in here inside of the laundry room. So there's a sufficient airspace in here, and when this furnace is on and the wash machine is at, you can barely hear it. You can hear a little bit of a rumble, especially with the dryer on, just a little bit. Nothing that is going to be substantial though and interfere with what's going on in the control room here. And as I might, if need be, if I feel it is bothering me too much, I can always put some acoustical foam on the inside of the doors, or perhaps on the outside. But there's a sufficient airspace in here to try to dampen the sound as well. And again, here's our other door entrance to the control room. Now this little cubby hole again, all finished off. Like I say, I've just got to buy one more door and matching door with these here and fit it in there. I'll just cut it out of the full-size door. And then finished off a little bit more insulation in here. Now this is going to be, probably mentioned it before, but I'll reiterate and say that this is going to be a storage area, as well as what they call a Helmholtz resonator, and what that's going to do is control unwanted buildup of bass frequencies when you're mixing music. You have to control that type of thing, and depending if I put more insulation in here, it'll control more or deeper frequencies or lower frequencies, if you will. And what I'll do is I'll put a regular locking steel door on here, just like our regular doors, and I can always convert it with I'll put some pegboard, some kind of a adjustable pegboard insert here, and I can always turn it into a Helmholtz resonator. So it can be dual purpose. We'll see which way it goes a little further on into the project. Give it a little bit of look down that way. Now I'm not sure if I'm going to finish the paneling off with a little bit of that oil or not. It actually looks pretty good right now, and it's fairly light in here, so if I put a little bit of oil on there, that Swedish rubbing oil, it might darken things up a bit much, but I'll decide that a little later on. And we'll go into this area. Don't have the lights on in here yet. So this is all finished off now. Matches with the inside of the control room. And again, we got a double door system, so we can make sure we stop any sound from disturbing the rest of the household. Same sealing system again with all the doors. Cubby hole again in here. You've seen this probably once before. Just finished off for a little door here. That's where eventually the audio cables are gonna run through here again and out into the live room, the sun room. I'll just have to cut a hole in the wall, the existing wall now. That's not going to be a problem at all. Take you up to the next level. Open this last door up. And that's what we got now. And finished it off with the paneling again. A little bit of trim matching. It's all mahogany. And I put an acoustical tile over the existing drywall here, just for some more control on the sound, just to deaden it up a bit. And again, if need be, I can always put a little bit of foam over this to control some unwanted noise. But did a little test on it and had things up to about 85 decibels in the studio. Had all the doors shut, and you really couldn't hear much. A little rumbling again, and that was about it. So it's turning out to work pretty good. And here's our recording in session light here. Had to put that on there so when the first door is open, if that red light's on, do not enter. There's individuals at work. And a little bit of a view now with the rest of the room down here. A little lighter on the door. I might change that darker wood somewhere, darker paneling down the road somewhere. But for now, that's suitable. And my son Jason insists that I leave one of the tags on the door, room 240. That's where it's all going to happen. Head back down here for a sec. So there you have it. At this point in time. Next stage is I'm just in the process now of working out calculating out some figures to see what types of foam I'll be needing and where I'm going to have to put them. And then I'll do some other acoustical tests. I've got one program that I can use on disk to run some more tests and make sure I get it right. So it shouldn't be too much longer, another week or so, and probably have all the foam up, depending on if it's the shipping isn't going to take too long to get this stuff. So that's about it for now, and next time we check in we'll have a little bit more done, or pretty much she'll be finished off. Talk to you later. Hey folks, just a little update here since we last talked. I guess what's new is pretty much I just finished off these little doors for the storage compartments underneath the stairs here. And I'm going to have a lock going on here. If I can get it open. It's pretty tight seal. So there you go. Got neoprene door jamb here. Seals it up nice and tight. And a little knot locking mechanism here. And other than that, just started moving some things down. Take a little pan around, see what's going on. Got a little bit of gear going on here. Pretty much the desk where I'm going to put my new stuff when I get it. Bigger stuff and better, more power, yeah. Just a monitoring location, and again here the cabinets. Probably going to utilize this to put some outboard equipment on. You know, a few knickknacks going on here right now. And from the front of the room towards the back, nice, plenty of space to put the old guitars. Nice little comfy couch there for relaxation when needed. A couple other things. Got a mandolin here. My grandmother was gracious enough to give this fine instrument to me. Much appreciated. Definitely will come in handy. That's her special instrument there. She played for many years. She doesn't get to play too often, so she's donated that to the studio, guys. Bless her heart. I'm trying to make some good use out of it. Another amplifier there. Little walk area in the back, just to just keep the monitors off the wall enough so we don't get a lot of bass buildup. As well as I'll be running some PVC piping probably along the floor just to put all my cables in to make it look neat once it's all hooked up. And Warren Lodge will be here soon and bring his equipment in, so we'll have lots more. Be able to do some very serious work. And the guru, Dave Moulton, Golden Ears CD ear training disc set. Anyone who's in this business, got to get that. Fantastic learning tool. Tune your ears in to what they should be hearing. Another handy book to have in the studio is Dave Moulton again. Hey, the guru. of engineering. Recording engineering, that is. Anyways, this book here he just put out, it's called Total Recording. It's close to 500 pages of extremely useful information. I recommend it for anyone who is getting into this business. It is so much knowledge in there, and actually just to have it right by your mixing console when you're in sessions, you know, you can flip it open and get some really nice quick answers to make your job easier and sound a lot better. That's about it for now. I still have to get the acoustical foam. I'm going to conduct some tests shortly. I'm just waiting for a couple CDs in the mail to get here that will allow me to do some audio analysis of this room, so I can establish what types of acoustical treatment I do need, foams and diffusers and bass traps. I also should mention that this will here be a Helmholtz resonator for you people who are into that technical stuff. You know what that is. It's pretty much like a bass absorber the way I built it. I probably mentioned this before, but it's all insulated inside here under the stairs. It's a little blurred out right now. That's all the Roxol insulation in there, and what you do is you just get some pegboard and you just place it over here, and depending on how many holes per square inch and all these little fancy formulas, you can have it control certain bass frequencies if need be. And I guess I might as well show you this. Yeah, I just got this door done here too, so another storage area. Run some cables through there later also. I guess I should also mention that this space under the desk here is probably going to be utilized. I'm going to build some racks in here to put some outboard equipment, so it's handy to have at your fingertips when you're conducting recording or mixing. Just layer it in there. A lot of this stuff here will probably go in there. And we got a computer down here, and we'll probably be able to have enough room for a couple pieces of gear installed under this area here. It's this is about 10 feet of desk here. It seemed like a lot when you start, but it doesn't take much to fill it up. And when we get the other equipment in here, I know there's going to be a little bit of space restriction, so I'll have to get creative. Eventually I'm going to get probably a fairly good sized console to fit on this desk, so it'll probably take up 2.5 feet, and we'll take care of that when we come to it. But for now, I'll catch you later and tune you into what's going on in a little bit. Ciao for now. Okay, we're just here on the last segment of the control room video series here, and I'm just going to show you the finished product as it stands today. So we'll step inside. There's a double door going down into the control room. A little bit of a stairway here. We've got the red recording light on, which has helped a couple times so people don't barge in on you and interrupt a good mix or a recording or something like that. Handy to have. Little storage area in here. Finished off. Put some rock wool up. Safe and sound insulation, like the rest of the build. And this is just the 24 channel snake coming in from the live room, from the panel, and it comes through the back of this. Actually, this is the back of a bookshelf in the family room. So just drilled a hole through the one side over here. Can't quite see that good enough, but anyways, and then I just took it here and drilled a hole through the control room wall and threaded it through. So that's that deal there. And through the second door here, if I can open it, into the control room. I'll just do a little quick pan around here so you can see what it looks like. Okay, we'll just talk about the acoustical treatment that we put in. And basically, you got your bass traps, your diffusers. These are the foam diffusers, the black ones. And the wooden ones are the RPG. This is the QRD diffuser here. And this is the Omni diffuser. So we kind of staggered them along the back wall. And this other diffuser here has got a little bit of a flutto, or a little flutter echo kind of a control. So that's a little bit of a different diffuser in itself, but mainly the same purpose, with a little added protection against some flutter that may be coming off from the back wall when you're mixing. Now I got these diffusers here, the RPGs, on eBay, and I picked them up for $45 a piece, and I think they go new for about $250, $300. So once again, go on eBay or other sources and you can really get some of this stuff cheap. These diffusers here, the foam ones, I've got them at HSF, Home Studio Foam. Again, they're you can find them on the World Wide Web. They have a good product at a very reasonable price. The bass traps, purchased that from a business called the Foam Factory, as well as the wedgies, or this pyramid, sorry, 2-inch pyramid pieces. Again, good product, very reasonably priced. I find it a lot cheaper than the Orlex products, and they're just as good. And this again is from HSF, Home Studio Foam, and this is just your 4-inch shards. So we did some testing on the room before placing the foam up.
We used real-time analyzer, and we also used a couple free programs off the internet, room mode calculators. You can find them on the internet everywhere, and they do a great job, give you a really good idea of what your room is going to run into in terms of standing waves. And it's not very hard to understand. And once you get a handle on it, you'll be able to buy the proper foams and put them in the proper locations to tame your room. And again, on the ceiling, we just have the, well, it's in the industrial 5/8 ceiling tile. Okay, I'll just go through the double door here, which goes into the laundry room. So you can see, I'll open this door here, you can get a better look at the thickness of this wall, the finished wall. There you go, it's about 11.5 inches thick. It turned out really good. It dampens any of the noise coming in from the laundry room with the furnace on, and if the laundry machine is running. I did a test, sound test, and with the laundry machine running and the furnace on, inside was about 75 decibels. And when I came out and shut both doors, I had 15 dB right at the doors. So standing farther back from the doors a couple feet or so, it wasn't even registering. So it did a great job in taking care of that problem. I'm not sure if I mentioned it, but these door jambs here are just bought them at I think Rona or something like that. $25 a kit. Industrial, neoprene, gasket on them, and so they don't break down, and they last for quite a long time. And they work well too. Okay, inside this door, I probably mentioned it a couple times before, but it's finally finished. Again, finished it off with some Roxul insulation, and I've got a unit I built here that just goes inside, and it's pegboard with the holes in it, so it's used as a resonator to control low frequency. If I'm having problems, I'll just open this and it'll tame things down pretty good. It's just another panel in the snake for I'm building a vocal booth up on the next level here, so that's going to get wired in to that vocal booth eventually. Now, some of the equipment we're using here now, we've got a Yamaha Motif ES8. Got it for a very good price, and anyone who's used one, you know what it does. Very powerful synthesizer. Just about anything you want in there, it's there. Come over here to the processor rack. Effects and processor rack. Got a Lexicon PCM80 digital effects processor. The name says it all, really. Lexicon, top of the line stuff there. Studio 400, 4 in and 4 out multi effects processor. Not sure if you can see that on the screen. That's even making it worse. But what I do is program a lot of my vocal spreaders in there, so you can get a good stereo spread with this unit, as due to the fact that it has 4 in and 4 out. and makes for a nice effect on a finished mix. The Personas here, the M80 mic preamps, a bank of 8. Now what I usually do with that is I put all my drums through there, and then what I'll do is I have the AC P88, the compressor, a limiter with the gates on it, so I'll put all my drums through the preamps and then through the gates and adjust accordingly, and I find that combination works very well. Joe Meek DC studio channel VCQ1, I find that works extremely well on bass, but you can just about use it on anything really, but it just seems to really shine when using it on low frequencies, bass, anything like that, percussion. Polari RP282, which is actually an RP583. I just had it upgraded with that 583 card, so it's got a bigger vacuum tube in there. Sounds a lot warmer. Nice unit for the money for sure. Down here we've got a stereo parametric equalizer, SC66 Ashley Audio. That's going way back, probably back into the 60s. Extremely nice to use. Again, I use that on drums a lot and bass. It really does a nice number on the drums. And here, Mac G4, Digio 1 Pro Tools, 24 tracks. That's one of the recording mediums I have here. Go over to this side. All the recording units and the processors for the final mastering. Up on the top, we're using right now an UltraFX Pro multi-band sound enhancement processor. That's a Behringer unit. It does an extremely good job on the final mix. People who use them or do use them, you know what they do. Aphex has one. They've been using these in studios way back from the 60s, 70s, and it was like kind of a little magic box when they first came out. And if you ever get your hands on the used one, you'll know what I'm talking about. Next unit below that is a TC Electronic Finalizer Plus. It's for mastering, and that is one powerful unit right there. It's very, well, I guess it's fairly complex, probably one of the more complex pieces of equipment I have here. The deeper you get into it, the better it sounds, and the better it polishes it all, puts that final polish on your mix. It's worth getting one if you're doing some serious recording, and if you want that finished sound, it's going to give it to you. Just have some patience with it. I mean, it's not like sending it off to a mastering facility, but you'll definitely see the difference in your mixes, or you'll hear the difference in your mixes. Then we've got 3 Tascam D878 HR, 24-bit high resolution, linked together there. Now I use what I'm using. Finally found a tape that works really good. It's recommended in the manual as well. Is the Fuji DPT tapes. Like some people go and they use those the high A ones you buy, like at Best Buy or some big box store, but they're not the proper tape to use for these units. Anyways, yeah, if you're thinking about getting one of these recorders, buy yourself some of these tapes. You'll thank yourself for it. I've had problems with other makes, and this one is the only one that I find works extremely well with these Tascam DA78s. Below here is a Tascam CD RW5000 CD recorder for the stereo mix. Workhorse, hasn't let me down yet, works great. Fostex D5 DAT machine, DAT recorder. Don't use it much anymore, but I had in the past, but I'm hanging on to it. And this is the Tascam MS-24, 24 track analog, 1 inch. It has a DBX in it, and again, that's a nice machine. I've used that on a lot of projects. Nothing like analog, I think. It's got the best, I think, warmest sound. The only other unit that I know that or digital recorder that can really match tape is the IZ Technology product, Radar 24. People who know what I'm talking about out there, if you've used them or heard them, you cannot tell. It's almost virtually impossible to tell if it's 2-inch tape or not. It's something I'm considering getting somewhere down the line. The effects racks, we built them ourselves. Just used some of the leftover material from the project. One thing you want to be careful of is the angle that you build these on, because some of the equipment will only work properly, or it won't work properly if it's mounted on a rack over a certain degree, and that was my Tascam RW5000. I had to watch that because the manual specified nothing over 15 degrees. Anything beyond that, you'd have problems with the recording unit functioning properly. And the console that we're currently using is the Mackie 32x8. Excellent console, I think. Analog, but preamps sound very decent. I think this new is about 5,000. So for the money, actually, it's a pretty good deal. It's a workhorse. It's solid. I haven't had any problems with it. So it's still holding in there. Monitor system, Mackie HR824, high resolution. This is the original HR824s. They have a new design out, a new model. I haven't heard them, but I'm sure they sound as good or better than these, and these sound extremely good. Very flat monitor, and your mixes translate quite well outside the studio. So around at the back, of course, you know, anybody who owns a studio, tons of wires running everywhere. So this is coming out of the 24 track analog. Everything comes back here. All patched in. Try to keep it as neat as possible. Well, I'm the kind of guy who gets up, just comes back here and patches things in differently. I don't have any patch base set up, and you know, I might do that one day, but sometimes I find it's nice to get out of the chair every now and then and just, you know, stretch out and crawl around back here and plug things in. I don't have a problem with it. I have to reroute certain pieces of equipment. This is everything coming out of the D878s. I don't know if you can see it very well. A bit of a maze back here. Yeah, so there's the snake coming in. Just comes around down the bottom of the wall here, out of the way so it doesn't get stepped on. Here's a shot of the other side. The processors and the effects units here. And yeah, these wire holders here, I guess you'd call them. I just took some leftover part close molding that went on the ceiling and just notched out some areas, just so you can kind of keep the wires a little more tidy back here, keep them in line. And I just fastened that with, you can see that over here, some Velcro stripping. Just put it on there, and male on one side, female on the other. On here, or male side on the cable holders. And yeah, it works fine. Cheap way to do it. So the instruments we're using here, we've got Fender Jazz. Great bass, as everybody knows. All kinds of odds and ends for guitars. And here's the cable that comes into the wall here. I just cut it out and kept the plug that I cut out, and kind of just notched it so it would fit these cables tight, so I could just slip it back in, get a nice tight seal in there. To backtrack a bit, forgot to show this little attachment here. Just a couple of things on some sliders, just to pull up the keyboard and hide it, just to save a little bit of room. And lots of storage space. You need that, as everyone knows. Throw your mics in there and tapes and whatever else, doodads and knickknacks you have. Microphones, some of the mics we're using here right now, I got some out on loan, but what I have here now is we got your condensers and tube mics there. We got a matched pair of Rode NT5s, Rode NTK tube mic. That's a sweet mic right there for the money. Excellent mic. I think it's like $700. KSM 44, Shure, large diaphragm condenser, multi-pattern. Real oddball of a mic here, a blue mic called the Dragonfly. Comes with the shock mount, everything's built in for you right there. Strings like an animal. Buy blue, they make good stuff. Kind of a tough mic to dial in, but when you get that mic dialed in, especially on the guitar cabinet, it's incredible the sound. It actually sounds, when you're sitting in the mixing room after you've recorded this on the playback, it sounds, if you nail this thing in the right spot on the amp, it virtually sounds like the amplifier is sitting right there in the console between the speakers. Magical little microphone there. Another condenser mic here, Audio-Technica 33A. A couple kick mics. I think this is the ND, or EV, I should say. The EV ND, can't read the number, 868 on there. It's got a nice warm sound to it. Sennheiser E602. See that? This is a beast of a kick mic. If you want a lot of snap, a lot of punch, that mic right there is going to give it to you. Of course, a ton of these things laying around. SM57 Shure's workhorse of the studio, always has been, always will be. I've got a set of Audix D series microphones here for drums. I find they work great on drums. I just love these mics on drums. The D1s, D2s, and D4. They've got a D3 as well, and as well as drums, it's a killer guitar cabinet microphone. I'm thinking about getting that one as well. So that's it right here for the mics right now. Just a few other knickknacks laying around. Any studio owner probably has these, or some degree of these anyways. You know, a little pile of pedals for who knows what use you might need it for. Bunch of Boss pedals there, compressors, sustainers, phasers, chorus, distortions, heavy metal overdrives, you name it. It's always nice to have them laying around. You never know when you're going to need them. Blues driver, got a tube screamer, a couple of wah-wah pedals as well, hanging around. The old Tom Schultz Rockman X100, still hanging around. Super Boost, direct boxes. Oh yeah, something else I wanted to show you. A couple items here that are probably worth mentioning to some people if you haven't heard about them. It's a couple books, or a book here. It's called Total Recording. It's written by, you can see that, Dave Moulton. He's an audio guru, this guy. This book contains just about everything you're going to want to know about audio. And some of it, I had to read it like a couple times over. It's very complex stuff in there. You have to wrap your head around it, but it's all learnable, and it's definitely an asset to have in this business. He also put out, I think it's I don't know, 5 or maybe even more, I can't remember, disc set. It's called Golden Ears, and it's for ear training, and it's an excellent investment. I've spent hours sitting at this console listening to these CDs, and it's definitely helped in what I do on a daily basis. So it's something to think about if you're looking for a couple good sources of information. Right there, it's worth the investment. Just something else. For headphones, I use the Sony MDR 7506. I find these headphones for myself, they're my number one go-to all the time. Great product, and I think they got they do the job. They sound great. Yeah, so if you're looking for something new to try, or if you're deciding what kind of headphone you might want to take a chance on, you can't go wrong with these right here. You'll see them everywhere. A lot of studios using these, as well as you see that Audio Technica. Trying to get the name on there for you. ATH M40 FS. Another good quality headphone there. I know there's lots out there, but I find these to be quality as well. Very competitive to a lot of the other standards. Just if you're thinking about cable holders or something like that, again, cheap way to do it. Just grab yourself a piece of scrap wood and cut some slots in it, and you can hang your cables up on the wall. As well, I made all the cables. Just order the parts and the cable off of eBay or something, and save a lot of money that way. And you can configure them anywhere you want to, so you don't have to run around and spend a lot of money on cables and things. Spend a little time with a soldering gun, and you can save money. Put that towards a really nice, microphone or something like that. Absolutely. I also wanted to mention for people who are interested in building your own studio and collecting gear, and I would highly recommend buying this stuff on a site like eBay or similar sites, or ones that you trust. I bought everything in the studio that you see, pretty much everything, on eBay, and I averaged it out, and I probably paid about a third or just over a third of the cost of what it cost me to buy this equipment new. And you know, again, if you go about it the right way and you check and make sure that who you're dealing with is you know, legitimate, there's really no risk. I don't think so. I had never a problem with one of the items or anybody that I dealt with. Just ask the right questions, right? And you can get a pretty good feel about you know, who you're dealing with. So everything you see, you know, in the studio, you know, aside from the foam, is a used piece of gear, and I've used it for quite a while. Haven't had a problem with it. So again, something to think about. You know, really cuts the budget down when you're talking about equipment investment. Okay, I'm just going to give a sample, try to give you a sample of some of the sounds we're recording in the studio. The first tune is a familiar tune, everybody's going to know that. It's a young group that came in here a while back, and they did a remake of Green Day's Basket Case. So this is off of the 1-inch 24 track MS-TOR 24. I'm not quite sure how this is going to sound on this little video camera here, but we'll give it a shot anyways.
Do you have the time to listen to me whine about nothing and everything all at once? I'm one of those melodramatic fools, neurotic to the bone, no doubt about it. Sometimes I give myself the creeps. Sometimes my mind plays tricks on me. It all keeps adding up. I think I'm cracking up. Am I just paranoid? Am I just dumb? I went to a swim to analyze my dreams. She said it's like a ghost that's bringing me down. I went to a home. She said my life's a bore. So with my running, 'cause it's bringing her down. Sometimes I give myself the creeps. Sometimes my mind plays tricks on me. It all keeps adding up. I think I'm cracking up. Am I just paranoid? So I better hold on. Sometimes I give myself the creeps. Sometimes my mind plays tricks on me. It all keeps adding up. I think I'm cracking up. Am I just paranoid? Am I just dumb?
Okay, next tune is again analog tape recording, And this is by a band called Time to the Sun, a song called Hourglass. Next artist is a man by the name of Lance Bedard. This song is called So Did You. It's just a solo act, just Lance on vocals and guitar, layered guitars and vocals. So here it goes. Again, it's on the Tascam 24 1-inch analog tape.
It's been a long time since I failed you. You know it's been a long time since goodbye. You closed us off in the back of your mind, but we tried. Yeah, we tried. Without you, I never needed you to remind me. I never needed a poor excuse. All I needed was a father who knew. How did you without you there beside me, to guide me, to show me how you care before me. I took it all for granted. Yes, I took my life for granted, but so did yours. So did yours. You know it's been a long time since I loved you. You know it's been a long time since I cared. I closed you off in the back of my mind, and I know I'm in your prayers, and so are you. I never needed your opinions, I never needed them at all. So when you're staring through that window, I know you see it all, you see it all. I can't imagine a life without you there beside me, to guide me, to show me how you care before me. Well, I took it all for granted. Yes, I took my life for granted. So yours, so did yours. Well, I talk tough for a reason. Yes, I have a softer side, 'cause deep inside you never lost me. 'Cause I know that we both tried, and I've been here by your side, watching you. I can't imagine a life without you there beside me, to guide me, to show me how you care before me. Well, I took it all for granted. Yes, I took my life for granted, but so did you. I couldn't imagine a life without you there beside me, to guide me, show me how you care before me. Well, I took it all for granted. Yes, I took my life for granted, but so did yours. So did yours. Oh, so did you. So did you.
Okay, the next tracks you'll hear are from the Pro Tools rig. Yeah, I'm not sure if you'll be able to hear the difference from the analog to the digital recording, but we'll give it a try here anyways. This is just some tracks that we're working on right now for a song. Just a bunch of guitars, layered guitar tracks, so here you go. Okay, next recording is another digital recording, recorded on the Tascam DA78 HRs, and again, it's just some guitar tracks, nothing fancy here, and pretty much demo tracks before the final production. But I'll let you listen to this and see what you think. See if you can tell the differences between, you know, if you can see any variation in some of the recordings, different sounds, qualities.